Hey, it's Kevin. Welcome to another episode of the video blog. What are we, like episode number 36 today? Wow, having a good time and getting into it. I hope you are too. Thanks for visiting. Well, you see all the Coca-Cola paraphernalia. Yeah, this is part of my Coca-Cola room in the Ohio mansion, which I don't remember which blog post it was. We talk about the Coca-Cola room. But actually, you're at the Music Dubbing Center, which is where I take my CDs behind me and dub them into my music computer, which, yes, there is a separate computer for music. I'm a computer. You know, one day I'll probably amass all the computers, or I'll tell you what, we'll go into the computer graveyard in my basement, and we can just sit around and look at all the computers that have died and gone to heaven. And that's not what we're about today. The post is titled Monster Mash, and yes, it is Halloween, and this is about as Halloweeny as I get from the title of the post, which actually has a double meaning. Yes, Bobby Moore's Picket, Monster Mash the song, but you're pretty much looking at the way I dressed for Halloween as a kid. It wasn't a Cubs hat back in the day. It was actually an Atlanta Braves helmet. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it was because back in the day, Hank Aaron was the big home run king, of course, and I like Ralph Garr on the team. But I love the helmet. I love the uniform. So I went out for Halloween probably 5 or 6 years straight as a baseball player. Put the black under the eyes and carry the baseball bat, which was also good for safety. Not in a small town, I had to worry about it. And my Atlanta Braves hat, and we went off and got candy and such. Nowadays, I'm not the dress-up type, never have been. But the double meaning of today's Monster Mash is the other day when I was traveling from Tennessee to Ohio, I stopped at the Pilot truck stop and got something to drink. And I'll admit I like those energy beverages, and they're not the best for you. I try to stay with the sugar-free rock stars or the diet beverages. But I was in the mood for something different. So I ended up going for the Java Monster, hence Monster, get it? Okay, that's about as Halloween as we get. But what was funny, what struck me is I'm sitting there drinking my Monster beverage, and I kind of realized that I was actually drinking iced coffee. Now, I'm a social coffee drinker, not a get up in the morning, 3 cups coffee drinker kind of guy. I'm a social coffee drinker. I'll have a cappuccino or a cup of coffee after a good meal or something like that, but I'm not a get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee. In fact, I really don't do a lot of caffeine in the morning except for my hot tea, which, of course, go back to the I Love Mr. T episode, and you'll find out more about my addiction to tea. But what struck me as funny about drinking the Monster was that for years as a kid, I would make fun of my parents who would make iced coffee themselves in the summer. I thought it was a strange thing, and it finally just hit me that what am I doing but having made fun of my parents when they were in their late 30s, early 40s. I'm now in my mid to late 40s making fun of myself for drinking iced coffee, and that's what my parents drank. Of course, back in the day when they drank it, they made it in the percolator, right? This takes you back to the 70s, and then literally put it in the refrigerator, put it on ice, and they drank that instead of iced tea. Now, granted, with the Monster, you get I'm sure there's some kind of milk-type substance. I probably don't want to know what's in there. I know I don't want to know what's in there, but I like the taste of it. I'm not the Starbucks guy. I'll go to Starbucks with a friend or something like that, or a coffee house, but for the most part, I can take or leave coffee houses. Now, my buddy Bill Shield, back in the day, Bill worked with me at WQMX back in the day, and you want to talk about a guy who literally lived on coffee and cigarettes. In fact, Bill drank coffee from the time he got up in the morning, which by the time he got to the radio station, he'd already been up for an hour and a half, and had probably already had 3 or 4 cups. Coffee was made by the time we got into work, and he was drinking it. We shared an office. He drank it all day long, literally until we went home at night. The coffee pot never was dry. Wow. Now, he also liked his single malt scotch and a fine steak or a fine glass of wine, but coffee. I know technically wine is the nectar of gods, but I'm going to go back to my Monster Energy beverage. Happy Halloween tomorrow, very special post. And then another trip down memory lane. We're going to say goodbye to an old friend on Sunday with a bizarre Kevin Mason twist. Have a happy Halloween. I got to go make sure that I've got everything out so the kids don't steal it and we get through another Halloween. Happy one. Talk to you tomorrow.